Bang bang Niner gang. 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 Against all odds, weather the storm, built for combat and battle, young hyenas in uniform. We play no games with the opposition, we active, let the whistle be the bell, we gon' get out what we got mad at. Many have tried, but many have failed. The 49ers got the livest fans in the NFL. I tried to tell them we back and we never left and we got heart. Levi Stadium starting to feel like Candlestick Park. Gold-blooded, my neck is frozen with diamonds from a 40. Be on the field with the linemen.
What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? How's YouTube doing tonight? It's your boy, Niner Sickness, accompanied with my boy, Florida Mike. How's everybody doing tonight? We are doing a live show tonight. Let me bring in my boy. Real quick, introduce you to him. Those that already know him, Florida Mike. We're going to talk some Niners Vikings game playing tomorrow. Do we advance? Or do we go home? That's what we're going to talk about. What do we need to do to get past the Vikings? With no further ado, let me bring my boy, Mike. Give me 1 second, Mike. Let me bring him in. Boom, boom, boom. There he is. What's up, Mike?
What's good, brother? Thanks for having me on tonight.
Welcome. Let me set this up. Okay, we're good to go. Boom. All right. So what's up, Charles? Welcome to the show. Go ahead, Mike. Just take it away for a few minutes, and then I'll be right back to join you, brother.
Yes, sir, man. Big shout out to my brother Beto, first and foremost, man, for having this show and this platform for us Niner fans. Big shout out to my other brother, Nathaniel Hewley, man. He couldn't make it on tonight, but he's with us in spirit. And big shout out to the Whole Heart Foundation, man. I'll never forget about my guys. They know who they are. And lastly, big shout out to all the Niner fans worldwide, man, tuning in on the show. If you are listening to this show, man, don't just be a listener. Also spread that message, man. Let people know we are here so we can grow. You know what I mean? We got a lot of Niner faithful who need to be tuned in with some real Niner football talk. So let's get this show kicked off. So San Francisco, Minnesota, 49ers, Vikings. We are going to win the game. I actually believe we'll win by more than 10 points. I'm not giving the exact score. I don't really do well at that. I try not to even do that, to be honest with you. But I believe that San Francisco will beat Minnesota by 10 plus tomorrow. I think Minnesota is actually a better team than a 6 seed, like a typical 6 seed. Not because they beat the Saints. I mean, the Saints have choked in the playoffs before. Granted, last year they kind of got robbed, but in the past, the Saints have had moments where they've not done well in the postseason when they've had a lot of hype during the season. So Minnesota, they're a good team. They have a good passing attack. Definitely have a good run game with Dalvin Cook. But at the end of the day, they have not faced a team like San Francisco with success. I don't know all the totality of their games. I'm not a Vikings fan, but I'm aware that they did not win their division. I'm aware that they could not seem to beat the Packers, who we blew out. So, as far as matchups go, we haven't played them yet this season, but I'm wanting to play Minnesota because of last year when we opened up with them in the season. I felt like we should have won that game. And I always said since last year, we were a few pieces away. Now I got my chance to make claims that we are literally got those pieces to beat them. So San Francisco keys of victory. We just need to, for offense, we need to not turn the ball over. I'm sure there's going to be mistakes, but we need to take care of the football. We don't need to go in there, give them opportunities like we did the Steelers early in the season, having self-inflicted turnovers, or even that Seattle game when we was at home with them. I don't think we'll have that type of game. I mean, at this point, I think we know who our football team is. We're as healthy as can be. So offensively, take care of the football, uh, run the football really well, um, and keep doing what we do in our passing game. You know, I think Debo Samuel just keeps doing what he's doing. I would like to see him minimize his drops. I would also like to make sure that Garoppolo does, like I said, doesn't turn the ball over, take care of the ball. You know, those little blotched fumbles or that one interception that it seems like, okay, get out the way and he's good to go. Um, those type of things we minimize, we cut down, eliminate if possible. We'll be fine. I don't see them stopping us in the entire 4 quarters. I don't really see them doing much of anything. I believe we're better than them. Period. You know, we're not the Saints. I keep telling these people that granted it's a playoff game. It's going to be a fun game to watch, but we're not New Orleans. We're San Francisco, and quite frankly, we're better than New Orleans. We beat them in their house. Minnesota beat them in their house, and we're better than Minnesota. Bottom line. So we just need to execute on defense. It's going to be interesting. Um, Obviously, we want to apply pressure to Kirk Cousins, get him rattled early. Our crowd needs to be super loud. So all you people out there in the Bay Area, in Levi Stadium, I wish I could be there, but I'm going to be there with you in spirit. I'm going to be at a bar rooting hard as I can. But I need everybody in Levi to stand up and cheer the entire 4 quarters. No sitting down. We're going to be super loud, and I want you to get on your feet and make them hear it. Make them call timeouts. We're gonna rock tomorrow. So defensively, I'm looking forward to seeing D Ford, Quan Alexander, hearing he's able to play. He's a go. Tart, I believe we're getting everybody back. So it's going to be interesting because Quan Alexander had the same injury, I believe, as J.J. Watt, and Watt looked pretty damn good in the Texans game and Bills game. So they got hurt about the same time. So it'll be interesting to see how Quan responds because on the offensive side of the ball, we had some players come back from being out for weeks with our fullback, our tackles, and they look really rusty when they came back against Seattle. So I'm hoping that that doesn't happen with our defensive players because their backups have been playing very well. They've gotten a rhythm. However, the starters are the starters for a reason. Quan Alexander, top linebacker on this team. Pair him with Fred Warner. You got a hell of a dynamic tandem right there, duo. But we also want to make sure that Greenlaw gets his in because Greenlaw has been stepping up to the plate, getting that key stop against Seattle. So it's going to be interesting to watch our defensive players. I'm really excited to see how they perform. I'm hoping they perform well. If they can just give us what we need to win, I'm fine with that. But hopefully they don't have too much rust. This is a hell of a game to put them in, and I'm confident that they're going to perform and succeed being put in. We definitely need them out there. So a couple key things in defense. We got to put pressure on Cousins, as I mentioned. We also got to put pressure on their receivers. I don't want to see us dropping back, depending on the pass rush to get to the quarterback. I mean, it's going to work, but teams have been adjusting to us. And granted, the second half of the season, these teams have been a lot, I guess, more capable of moving the ball, if you will, compared to the first half of the teams that we played. I still think that we still need to jam these receivers. I don't think we need to give them anything. No space, get physical with them, man coverage, make them beat us, basically, because if we can take away teams from, taking what we give them outside, and making yards after the catch a little bit, I really think that helps our pass rush be more effective. So we'll see. I'm not a coach, but it's just a couple of things I observe when we're out there and how teams have been adjusting to our pass rush. They're getting it out faster. So if we can jam those receivers till we take that away to where he actually has to drop back and depend on his protection to beat us man to man, I feel better about our pass rush being more effective in that scenario versus giving them yards, to play back a little bit. I think we just need to go man-to-man coverage. But, we'll see what we do, man. I just hope we adjust. I don't want to see us have that good first half dominance and then second half they're clawing their way back into the game and momentum seems to favor them. That's how it's been the last several games, So I want to stop that. I want to play complete 4 quarters and shut them out, beat them down early like we did Green Bay. That's the kind of game I want to see. But a win is a win at the end of the day.
Most definitely.
I think what's going to be interesting too is how is this young team going to respond in the playoff atmosphere? We played in many big games in the season. We've had a lot of close games, but this is the playoffs now, to where you're not able to come back after a loss and learn. You lose, you go home. So
That's it.
there will be no Julio Jones catching, at the goal line, scoring and learning, or going on the road, playing a tough game stretch against Baltimore and New Orleans and Green Bay, all of them in consecutive weeks, and there will be no chances to come back and rally together and or having 5 turnovers like we did against the Steelers. We grew a lot this season. I think we were battle tested. I think we learned a lot from those mistakes. So I'm confident that this team will respond. I don't care how young we are or how inexperienced they are. We have gotten to be 13-3 for a reason. I don't think we're just this seasoned team to go home early. I really think we're battle tested. We played in the toughest division in the NFL. One can debate that, but at the end of the day, the NFC West was, I don't know if we were the only division. I have to look around, but I believe we were the only division with 3 teams with the winning record
Yes,
for
we
pretty much
were.
the whole damn season. So, yeah, I think that we have a tough division and we're battle tested, period.
That's
We played
right.
against Baltimore in the AFC as well, New Orleans, so we had some teams that were pretty damn good offensively, and we held our own with everybody. We never got blown out this year. So
Hey, Mike.
there's no reason to doubt this team anymore from people who
Mike.
were leery or skeptical. Niner fans know our team. We knew we was legit, but outside Niner fans, I mean, what do you expect? They don't watch us. They're watching us now. They're coming on now, and now they want to see if we're the real deal. They're still doubting, but it's all good. We don't care what they think. So yeah, those are some of my tips for the game. I saw a comment posted up earlier about yeah, I can see you. I can see you, Beto.
Okay, making
I can
sure.
see a comment anyway. I can't see you on the screen yet, but I saw a about Mosley and Witherspoon earlier. Someone seemed to post a comment. I guess they were asking, what do I think about Witherspoon starting? You know what? I like the competition. I think it makes both guys go harder. We need both. Period. I don't really care who starts. I care who finishes. Because at the end of the day, both of them are talented enough to play. Both of them are needed. I value both of them equally. I think Witherspoon does some things well, and I think Mosley does some things well. But they're both needed. So it's a good problem to have when you have depth. So
Can you hear me now, Mike?
yeah, what's going on, Beto, man? Welcome back. Welcome
No,
back. I
no
hear and
worry.
see.
No, it's okay. I was trying to jump in for the last 15 minutes, but I didn't realize you didn't, or 10 minutes. I didn't realize you couldn't see me or hear me.
Yeah. I didn't know you was back. I was wondering,
No,
but I
no,
just
no worry, no worries. But real quick,
yeah.
I just wanted to, for those that are watching, get the opportunity to do our formalities. Please like the video, hit subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so that when we do future videos, you will be notified that we are doing live talking about your beloved 49ers, not only tonight, but every time we go live. So do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscription, subscribe to our channel, and definitely hit the notification bell so that you will be notified for any future videos. And I just wanted to kind of go a little bit based on what my boy Mike said, which I agree 100% on the receivers part of the Minnesota Vikings. We're definitely going to have to play press and put our hands on those receivers. We can't allow them to feel comfortable. I don't know how Adam Thielen is playing with a little cut on his ankle, but I'm going to assume both of them are ready to go. I'm going to assume both of them are ready to play. And at this point, if the Niners play their Niner football mistake-free, penalty-free, discipline, execute properly, and don't try to do too much but your job, we will be effective tomorrow. We'll come ahead and put that pressure on the Vikings. The Vikings, as good as they are, and I'm not trying to take nothing away from them, they did a great job against Drew Brees and the Saints in New Orleans. They deserve that win. But like Mike said earlier, don't mistake us for the Saints. We have a better offense, a more powerful offense than the Saints. They may have a more experienced quarterback in Breeze, but we have a more better offense than they do. If Minnesota thinks they're going to be able to do the same thing they did to the Saints on us, they're going to have something new coming to them tomorrow, man, because they're going to realize real quick that we are not the same team, that we are 13-3 for a reason. We're the number one seed for a reason. And they're going to come to realize that if they don't come to play, they're going to get burned pretty quickly. I know we match up very well with one another. I know they run the ball very well. They pass the ball. They run for the play action. They like to do screens. That's what we do. And I really believe the team that does the least amount of mistakes will come ahead with this W. But I like that we're rested. I like that we are rested. I like that we're playing at home. I like that we are getting all our players back. The only one that is doubtful in game time decision, it is D Ford. D Ford is the only one that Kyle Shanahan said that is game time. Now, they put defensive tackle Streets on IR to make room for K1 Alexander. So that tells me that D4 is going to play. I don't think Kyle Shanahan just wants to tip his hand out to the Vikings too much, but I think he'll be. How much he plays is a whole different step. But you know what? I don't know about you, Mike, and I want you to elaborate on this.
Mm-hmm.
If D4 plays 10 plays, 10 snaps, it'll be effective for us because he brings so much attention to that defensive line. They have to account for his speed. They have to account for him. If he comes and plays 10, 20 snaps for us, it'll be great. And the same thing with K1 Alexander, as you mentioned earlier. JJ Stokes, he hurt his pec 4 days prior to Alexander. So they only have 4 days in between them. And JJ Watt was able to come back one whole week before Alexander. So that kind of evens out. If you see, you see where I'm going with this, 4 days before, kind of we had a week, a little bit a week after him. It kind of works right to the same time frame that JJ. And JJ had like 55 snaps, I believe, in that game against Buffalo Bills. Now there are two different cats. They play two different positions, but the injury is the same. And the heart of those two, K1 Alexander, man, his heart is definitely there, man. He promotes legendary. Everything he talks about is about legendary. And that's what he's going to do tomorrow. He's going to become legendary, getting hurt October 31st on Halloween and coming back on January 11th to play his first playoff game with the Niners. And I believe I don't think he's played any playoff games with the Bucks. So he's excited to play some playoff football. And just his attitude, Mike, just his presence on the field is going to do a lot for our defense, man. That guy he's like a firecracker, man. He brings the energy to that defense, man. So having him there, having the young men just rally around and feed off of his energy, you want to have that energy. You want to have that composure in a playoff atmosphere like this, man. He brings it. It's one thing being on the sideline in street clothes trying to motivate your players or your teammates. It's a whole different thing when you're in uniform and you're going to be out there making some plays right along with your colleagues, man. And that's why I'm so excited that K1 Alexander has opportunity to play tomorrow. How many snaps he plays, that is yet to be seen. But nevertheless, he will be out there. He'll be effective, and he'll bring it on that defense, man. So I'm excited, man. We got to start fast, Mike. We got to start fast. We got to put at least 14 points on them quickly, and then we can just pin our ears back and let our defense do what our defense does best. Go after Kirk Cousins, make him make mistakes. See, the one thing about Jimmy Garoppolo, he's consistent. He has been. He still has a long way to go. He's still learning a lot, but he's consistent. One thing about Kirk Cousins, man, you don't know who you're getting that particular week. You're getting a really good Kirk Cousins, or you're getting one that is thinking too much. Because when he thinks too much, he makes mistakes. And after, you got to remember when they played the Saints, ain't nobody was picking the Vikings. Nobody was picking the Vikings. The Vikings, everybody was picking the Saints. They had no what's the word I'm looking for, Mike? They had no pressure of anything on them. They just went in there and they pulled out a W. This week, for whatever reason, I don't know, the haters are gonna hate. But 90% out of 100 is picking the Vikings to beat the Niners.
Who's doing this?
Everybody. I mean, I'm talking about everybody. Any announcer other than Chris Sims, and he's picking the Niners. And what's the other guy's name? Just put it this way: out of 10, only 2 are picking the Niners.
So these are people on networks.
On networks, yes. ESPN, okay. NFL Network, CBS, NBC. They're all picking. And my point with this is the pressure is back on Kirk. Now it's like, okay, Kirk won a game. Now and when we know that when Kirk comes in there with pressure, he bursts. He can't deal with pressure. He didn't have no pressure against the Saints. Everybody wrote them off. He has pressure against us. And personally, I think they're coming off an emotional win over the Saints. They're traveling. They had to travel from the New Orleans back to Minnesota, and now back to California, West Coast time. You know what I mean? So all that does take a factor. They're not playing with a full squad. So a lot of Minnesota fans, Mike, a lot of announcers. I don't even blame the Viking fans, because as a fan, obviously you're going to pick your team. If you didn't, I mean, you got to be realistic too, but majority of fans are going to pick their team because that's their team. But I get a crack on these announcers, these professional experts picking the Vikings because they had one good game against New Orleans. And a lot of it, and they barely beat New Orleans in overtime. It's not like they blew New Orleans out of the water. It's not like they went and dominated them. So I'm interested to see what happens tomorrow. But you know what? At this point, Mike, I don't care what they say until we lift the Lombardi Trophy, because even if let's say we beat Minnesota astoundingly. Let's say we put 40 points on Minnesota. They only score 7 points on us. Okay? I guarantee you we'll win maybe 1 or 2 announcers. But the other 4 or 5 will still pick the Vikings. I mean, we'll still pick the Packers or the Seahawks, whoever wins that game, against us in the championship. So at this point, personally, myself, I don't care what they pick, who they pick. What matters is what we have on the field. And what we have on the field, our team that is playing together, playing exciting. They love one another. They respect one another. They believe in one another. They're playing with a passion. And don't get me wrong, they see. I'm pretty sure the locker room has been passing around all the social media talking about the Vikings and the Vikings and the Vikings and the Vikings. That is fuel for the Niners defense and offense to come and make a statement. That is fuel for Kyle Shanahan to make a statement. And I see the Niners coming in hot, Mike. I see the Niners coming in with a fire. And I see I see a game, honestly, I can see a game like the Panther game easily, putting that pressure on Kirk Cousins, man. Because even though Hunter Griffin and Joseph and them, they're good at what they do, but I'm much of a stronger believer in Nick Bosa, D Ford, Buckner, and Eric Armstead. and what they do. So I can't wait for tomorrow. I cannot wait. I know we're going to stop the run. We're going to be effective. We're going to contain Dalvin Cook. He'll get a play here and there. He may get a touchdown, but everybody knows that Dalvin Cook also puts the ball on the ground. He has a tendency of putting the ball on the ground. And we have a linebacker by the name of Fred Warner. And he's going to be following Mr. Dalvin around. He's going to be trying to punch that ball out. And I got a feeling that that ball will come out. I see it here, and I see Kirk Cousins throwing 2 interceptions and fumbling one of the balls. So he's going to lose the ball 3 times himself for his offense, and that's going to give us the ability to capitalize on that and put some points on that team. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I personally think that first and foremost, you guys know me. I don't watch these sports people. I boycotted them for the last. I think the last sports show that I actually watched was when Richard Sherman ate Skip Bayless alive. I didn't even watch the whole segment of that day. I just literally watched Richard Sherman. I've always been a fan of Richard Sherman, what he says off the field. I've never been a Richard Sherman fan until he came to our team. So I like to see Skip Bayless get ate up. But after that, I stopped watching. I mean, they always have a protagonist and an antagonist. They have the pretty lady in the middle, and it's just scripted. I mean, you can see through it. You know, if you study journalism, if you've ever taken communication classes, they give you a basic guideline of what these shows do. So for me, I choose not to watch it. I know it's entertainment, but I mean, if they're still, picking a team to upset us or whatever is one thing, but with no substance and they're being consistent from what I've heard from everybody. I don't watch these shows, but from people that I do know that bring it up to me, from what I hear, it sounds like they're still doing the same old, same old. They're just disagreeing just to get ratings. I mean, at the end of the day, who cares what they say? They've been doubting us
That's
from
right.
the beginning. Why are we listening to them? If you want to watch entertainment, you can watch WWE. So uh, I'm not worried about what these critics say. That's exactly what they are as critics. I expect them to be that. So once we hold this Lombardi, they're still going to talk negative. Who cares? Uh, as far as the running game goes, we played great running backs already this season. I don't see why we won't be effective against Dalvin Cook. He's a great player. I know all about Dalvin Cook. I'm a Florida State fan. As a matter of fact, I even have the FSU gear on right now. I wore this purposely because I do love my nose, but when it comes to the NFL, I'm not rooting for Dalvin Cook to beat my Niners. It is what it is. But I do love my Florida State Seminole players in the NFL, so I always represent the nose in college. But yeah, I think we played against Alvin Kamara. We played against um, some great backs, man. We played against McCaffrey from the Panthers. We played against Todd Gurley. I know people say that he's not his normal self, but he's still Todd Gurley at the end of the day. So I mean, we played against some running backs, some great top-notch quality running backs in this league, and I don't see why we can't. If we did a field day on the Panthers, granted Minnesota's a better team than Carolina, but as far as you know running backs go, McCaffrey is as good as it gets.
Yep.
So you saw what we did to that running game. I don't see why we can't duplicate success against Minnesota. Um, and Cook has a history of getting hurt. He was like that at Florida State. So he's a hell of a running back. I'm a huge fan of Dalvin Cook. Like I said, he went to my favorite college team, Florida State. So I love Dalvin Cook, man. I got his college jersey and everything, but this is the first time I'll be rooting against him, man. And it's second time because we played Minnesota last year. But yeah, I think it'll be the first few possessions will be interesting to watch because I think our team's going to be so excited just naturally because we're in the playoffs and it's big. But I really think our team has enough veterans on this team with Sanders, Sherman, those kind of guys. Staley. Guys that's been there, guys that understand what's at this stage to come to help compose our young guys. And I think our excitement is going to benefit us because our young guys are going to be also focused with that excitement. And I don't think 49er fans need to worry about anything. We have the most complete team in the NFL, period. I mean, what can we not do? You see what I'm saying? The biggest thing that we got to do is not beat ourselves. Let's just be real about it. We're 13-3. We're 13-3. You know what I mean? All three of our losses were within one possession. We had not one loss that was bigger than one possession. We had quality games that we won, quality games that we played tough in that we lost. Who cares if Atlanta's not a quality team? I hear the critics already talking. You lost to the Falcons. So did the Saints. So we
That's right.
also we also lost to Baltimore, and we lost to Seattle. Those are our three losses. Sounds good to me. 13-3. Falcons came after we played 4 weeks of emotional games, and then the Atlanta game was emotional as well. So that's more of a letdown game.
Yep.
It happens. I don't know any NFL team that doesn't have a letdown game. Baltimore has had a letdown game. They got blown out by Cleveland. Who cares if it was early in the year? They still lost. So I mean, it happens, man. You play at the highest of the highest level. Happens. Who cares? Atlanta's home. Where are we at? First seed in the NFC. Doesn't even matter.
It's when it happens that counts, brother. You're right. A bad game is going to happen. It happened to the Saints. They had a bad game against Minnesota. The problem with the Saints is they had it at the wrong time because they in the playoffs, you lose, you're out. So I'd rather have it done in the regular season to the Falcons than have it done in the playoffs. So we had ours already. So we put that in the back burner. That's behind us, and we definitely going to move forward. Now, when I make the statement, I want to clarify with Nathaniel. What's up, brother? Our other analyst here at the Niners Sickness podcast, charming in through comments tonight. When I make the reference to the Carolina Panthers, I wasn't obviously stating that the team are on the same level, which I know they're not. The Vikings are by far much better than the Panthers. I'm talking about when I meant to say the Panthers, I want to see the fire. I want to see the passion. I want to see the way the Niners played against the Panthers to be played against the Vikings. The way Nick Bosa was all over Allen, causing him to make mistakes. You got to remember, before, I think Allen led the most intercept. I mean, I think he was right behind Jamie Winston in the most interceptions thrown this season. If I'm not mistaken, he was right behind Jamie Winston for the most thrown interceptions, or the third one, but he was up there. Prior to coming to us, that game that we played them, he had 0. Now, yeah, I understand he had only 4 games, but yet he had 0 interceptions. He was playing good, and he met a defense like ours. We started playing. Yes, I know Allen is garbage, but so is Kirk, in my opinion. And I know Kirk doesn't turn the ball over as much, but he's going to do it tomorrow. Trust me. A lot of pressure is on Kirk. Kirk is going to want to win that second game so bad he can taste it. And because of that, he's going to try to force the ball where he shouldn't force it. He's going to try to make plays that he shouldn't normally make. He's going to make his mistakes, and we're going to capitalize on those mistakes. We just got to pin our ears back, play discipline, keep an eye out for the opportunity, and take advantage of that opportunity. But I think we're going to harass him. I really believe our front four is going to go after him, and it's going to put pressure. Maybe it won't be noticed too much in the sacks category, but in the pressure, get in his face, let him know that we are there. He will feel the presence of our front four. Front four. He will feel that presence. Maybe Nick Bosa doesn't have 2 or 3 sacks, but if he gets in his face 7 times, 8 times, that's effective. If Bosa gets in his face 2 or 3 times, that's effective. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the Niners front four to get into his face, cause him to make mistakes, cause him to throw those interceptions. We're going to capitalize on it, and we're going to take advantage of that. I see a Niner team coming out on fire. I see them coming with a passion, Mike, and Nathaniel, and everyone watching. Watch out, man. It's going to be a good game tomorrow, but the Niners are going to bring it, man. They're going to bring it. Kind of like that game against the Packers. The Packers did not expect the Niners to be that effective on both sides of the ball. Minnesota's going to find out how the rat felt for the Packers. Okay, we're gonna give the same courtesy to the NFC North that what we did to the Packers. We're gonna oblige the same courtesy to the Minnesota Vikings. We're gonna send them packing with their tails between their legs, man. So I see a good game. But I wanted to clarify that the Minnesota Vikings are moons better than the Panthers. But what I meant, maybe I should have been more clear, was I want to come in with the fire and attitude the way we came out against the Panthers. And Mike, you're right. One of the things that I think is as running backs go, McCaffrey is way better than Dalvin Cook, and we contain him for the majority of the game. I think he only got one game. He only got one big play on us. That was like when we were kind of like in garbage time. He had that one big play. Other than one big play, we contain him pretty much.
Yeah,
So we'll contain Dalvin Cook pretty much tomorrow, man. Especially with a big boy, Earl Mitchell. Even if we put his fat butt right there in the middle and just plug him in and make him, even if he has to run around Earl Mitchell, that's enough time for Nick or Fred Warner or Mr. K1 Alexander to show up and lay the wood. And he is one of our best run defenders in K1. So welcome back, K1. Perfect timing for a running back like Cook.
yeah. I don't really like I said earlier. I don't really get with too much what these critics say, man. I do this pretty often on the show, man, and I'll uh, continue to do it as long as it's being brought up. I would encourage our fans, man, to um, stop worrying about critics, man. Like I hope people are fully aware. Unlike this show that you're watching right now, I don't have a card in front of me. I don't have a script. I don't have some nice looking woman who is quiet the damn near the whole show and on there just to be a so called intermediary, aka eye candy. Um, let's just call it what it is, man. I don't have a protagonist or an antagonist. If me and Beto disagree on a topic, we do it with substance. We do it with our own perspective, our own well thought out. And the difference is we watch our team every game, every
Yes.
play, and we read stuff about our team. These guys, when they say they're experts, I don't know how you're experts watching all the teams in the NFL when we're focusing on one team. We're actually more of an expert of our team.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I just encourage you guys, man. These shows, don't get worked up by them. They're entertainers, man. That's what they are. They might as well be equivalent to reality TV. The only reason they have a job is because we watch them.
Yeah,
So
pretty much.
ask yourself if you really don't like what they say about our team, why watch them? Why give them the ratings? Why support them? I mean, that's just me. But everybody does what they do. I'm not watching them, and I'm gonna stick to it. I've been gone from them for over 5+ years, so I'm gonna keep it like that. If people ask me, "You heard what ESPN said or whatever's out?" I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. I don't watch them. Don't care. So uh, back to our great team. I'm gonna care about what we say on this show because that's really what matters. So I think San Francisco, motivation wise, I feel I have a different perspective.
Okay.
I don't think that we really need these analysts to motivate us or give us fire, or they're going to give us fire. I think we already have that. Simply for the fact is we haven't won in since 1994 Super Bowl. So as a franchise, Joe Staley is on the verge of retirement soon. He wants to go out like a champ. Richard Sherman wants another ring to prove that, hey, I got it still. And we got some veterans on this team who want it, let alone the whole team. Kyle Shanahan has a point to prove. He's a young coach. Don't think for a minute that when he got to his Super Bowl with the Falcons that he doesn't want that taste back again. Because to lose like he did in Atlanta, I know that drives him to win. Will it make up? I don't know. I'm not Kyle Shanahan, but I know it damn sure would take a burden off his chest to know that he can go to sleep at night and he has a Super Bowl under his belt. So, we got a lot to prove. We're highly motivated because the one thing we don't want to do is our 13-3 season gets overlooked by one loss in a playoff. That right there, it's playoffs. That's enough motivation. So I feel the team is highly motivated. I feel this team is composed. I feel this team is going to come out and kick Minnesota in the gut early. Um, I personally also feel getting a lead on them early is great, but we have the last several weeks we have shown that we've surrendered points in the second half. So I'm going to be watching how we play in the totality of the game. However, having D4 back, I agree with you, and having Tart out there, some of these and K1 and these players back is certainly going to impact us. And Quan Alexander, I mean, we didn't have a lot of that, before. So I'm excited they're back. I mean, it does nothing but upgrade and help our team. I'm not worried about Russ as much. Will it happen? Probably, but they're good enough to give us a 60% D4 that's better than a 0%.
Amen to
So
that.
I'm good, man. Like, let's get it, man. Like, look, San Francisco fans, pay attention for a second, please. Let me have your attention real quick because this has to be addressed. This has to be said. We need to really, really understand what we have right now. We are 13-3. We're not a 13-3 that beat teams with losing records. We're 13-3 with a very tough schedule. Okay, we play hard teams in totality of this season. Let's stop looking at Tampa Bay games and the Bengals. Let's look at the total schedule. Okay, we played a lot of good teams with winning records that are capable of putting up points, and we finished out 13-3 with a very young team. If you look at our team, a lot of our impact players are rookies. Okay, Dre Greenlaw, Debo Samuel. Um, we got I know I'm missing a couple because I'm up here just so excited about being in the playoffs right now. I can't even think straight. But we got Wisnowski. We got he's a punter, but he's impacting. He's starting. If you look at a lot of our players that are out here that we drafted this year, majority of them are impacting the game. So uh, I'm really excited about this team, man. So like we just got to really go out here and just look at our team for what we are. We're 13-3. We're a great football team, and we're going to do it big in these playoffs. And honestly, I'm gonna call it now. I believe we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. Very confident. I don't give a damn who we play. I'm at a point right now. Bring on anybody, anytime, anywhere. We're gonna be in South Beach, in my state, and I'm anticipating on San Francisco coming out here having a Niner party in Florida. Bang bang Niner gang.
With that said, once we do represent the Niners and the NFC in the Super Bowl, will you be attending?
In the game, probably not, but I will definitely make an effort to ride down to South Florida to enjoy the festivities and represent these Niners. So I'm gonna do everything I can to get around there. So
I mean, the ticket's only a couple of $10,000. Oh, chuck change.
right,
Yeah,
jump change. But
yeah.
like
No,
I said,
I
man, we got impact players, man. We got Greenlaw making stops out there.
what a rookie,
Obviously, yeah,
fifth
obviously,
rounder.
obviously we got Bosa. It's not even worth mentioning that. I'm trying to think of rookies that that we picked later on in the rounds that are producing. Bosa's an obvious thing, but yeah, Debo Samuel. I wish we could have heard some more this year. That'd have been fun, but um, you know, like I said, man, we've done really well. Our rookies have came in and stepped up and performed and helped
Absolutely.
this team be 13-3. So that's a great sign.
Yeah, that absolutely, Mike. Greenlaw has been exceptional, man. He's come in, great kid, good head on his shoulders. He doesn't let the game get away from him. The game is not too big for him. He plays smart. He's disciplined. He learns. He's well coached. And the kid, I mean, talk about hitting gems in the fifth round. We hit two of them. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when did we take Warner? Did we take him in the fifth or in the fourth? Maybe the fourth. But we got Greenlaw in the fifth round, and then we got George Kittle in the fifth round. So a lot of our picks that have been playing good for us have been in the late rounds. And I
Mm-hmm.
like that. That's promising because, to be honest with you, third round, got you, Nathaniel. I'm not saying that you're going to hit everybody in the first round or second round, but the chances of getting a good stud in the first and second round, depending where you're picking in the second round, the chances are pretty high. But when you start picking up someone in the fourth, fifth, sixth round, and they hit for you, man. Not only that, but getting Matt Breida undrafted, Mostert undrafted, bringing
Yeah,
him in, getting undrafted players that are contributors to the team. It's great. Our front office is man. They're one of the things that I'm in love with is that Jed York did his job. He went out and got a coach, and he got a GM, and he got the hell out of Dodge. He told John Lynch, "I hire you for 6 years. I hire Kyle Shanahan. I'm gonna step away. I'm gonna let. I'm not. I'm gonna be the opposite of Jerry Jones. I'm taking my hand off the cookie jar. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna ride or die with you. You guys do good. I'm gonna give you props. I'm gonna look good. You guys do like shit. I'm gonna look bad. But I've been there before already. He had the balls enough to back off and let his guys do the job, and they've been
yeah,
producing. They've been
yeah.
producing for him. Not
It,
like
isn't
Jerry
it?
Jones.
Isn't it funny, man? Don't you remember when a lot of Niner fans, wanted them out, Jed York out, back when we had Balky.
Yep.
It was funny how times changed. Like right now, nobody's talking about Jed York anymore.
Nope.
Isn't that funny? But
They're
Jed York
emotional
is,
Niner fans, man.
yeah. I mean, in that aspect, I can't really be upset that they were upset with Jed York, considering that Jed York has Balky there, and the way things went down with Harbaugh, it was a lot of mess. But Jed York, like you said, when he was accountable, holding himself accountable, and he hired Kyle Shanahan and Lynch, I found Lynch an interesting hire because normally with a guy with no experience, I'm kind of like, but with Lynch playing the game, being on the defense like Tampa Bay, Lynch has relationships
Yeah.
skills that I don't think is often glamorized enough because he's played the game. When he talks with players, when he looks at players, he builds relationships. He can see characteristics that a lot of GMs with business acumen sense might not have as much because they weren't NFL former players. So to see Lynch out here building the defense, he knows that that D line, like it was in Tampa Bay, has to be solid, has to be
Yes.
like a rock, and that's exactly what he did. He built his defense like they were set up at Tampa Bay. So I love the Lynch hire, man. I was kind of like, okay, let's see how this works. I was patient with it and
I
liked
was
it.
skeptical, to be honest with you. I was like,
Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. If it wasn't John Lynch, I probably would have been skeptical. But considering that he has an ability to have relationships with players, from just being away from the game and being around the game in other forms and aspects. I wasn't I wasn't going to assassinate him right away. I was like, okay, this is interesting. And Kyle Shanahan, I was really excited about because I just knew he was going to be that guy. I love Kyle Shanahan when he was in Atlanta. I don't care what people say about his play calling in the Super Bowl.
he didn't lose it. The defense lost
Yeah, I
it.
mean that people gonna always have their views. There's a lot of people who say defense wins championships. I personally am probably in the minority of that. I don't agree with that saying. I
Well,
know a
not
lot of people
necessarily
say
that,
that.
but he put 28 points. He did his part. The
Yeah,
defense could not keep their offense. They let the offense come back. I mean, they put 28 points on that defense of the Patriots, and they
right.
let him come back. So that's what I'm saying. He did his part. He could have put more points. You're right, and he did make some crucial mistakes. But he
Hmm.
was he's a coordinator learning. He was learning. But real quick, I just want to piggyback, and I'll let you finish, Mike. I want to piggyback real quick on the Jed York.
Hmm.
Uh, the thing that bothered me with fans were they wanted him to sell the team. They wanted him to give it to fire himself. Um, I understand people were criticizing him because of the Balky thing, but people don't realize is Jed York. He's a young owner. He was an inexperienced owner, going through mistakes like everybody else does, going through the growing pains of picking the wrong GMs, believing character over what's better for the team. He allowed Bulky to get in his ear and feed him things because he was naive and young in the perspective of an owner. But he learned. He learned, and I don't know about you, Mike, but it was gutsy to go with a person for a GM like John Lynch that's never been a GM before. He was
Hmm.
already, you remember, Jed York was already being asked to leave and sell the team, and everybody hated him and blah, blah, blah. For him to go after a GM like John Lynch took balls to do.
Hmm.
He could have went and got himself a better GM, supposedly, or not a better, but a name GM to come in and run the Niners. And who knows what that would have took. But he went with his gut. He says, you know what, this is my team. I'm gonna look good with my team or I'm gonna suck with my team, but I'm gonna do what I want to do. And he went and got John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. And a lot of people did not like the hire of John Lynch. I liked it. I was skeptical, but I liked it because, like you, Mike, I like the relationships that I love the old school mentality, the respectful person that Mike Shanahan. A lot of people respect him. A lot of people love him because of his personality. From that perspective, he's a Stanford guy, smart guy, um, and I liked him for that. Now, as a first-time GM, I was kind of skeptical. I'm like, man, let's see what's going to happen. So I
Hmm.
wasn't against it, but a lot of fans were like, "What? There's Jay York. What an idiot! He hires a media guy from the whatever channel he was with, and now he's our GM. And where are those guys now? Where are those people talking shit now? They're nowhere talking. Why? Because we're 13-3. We're playing our first playoff game as the number one seed. When was the last time we had a number one seed?
Oh
When's
man,
the
it's
last time
been
we had depth? Not
been
only
a
depth. The reason why we got there, brother, because we had a lot of injuries this year. But the difference between this year and last year and the year before, we had depth to be able to keep winning games with injured players. That is all John Lynch, and that's all Kyle Shanahan that did that. Because none of those. How many players do we have on our roster from when they came in? Maybe like a handful.
yeah. I mean, most of the roster is depleted. I mean, uh, if you're talking about Balky's players, I think you might have literally maybe
A
three.
handful. Yeah.
Yeah, not even many, not that many. I mean, probably about three, maybe. I had to sit down and look at the roster and think, but you
Nathaniel
know,
said seven.
okay, seven. So yeah, it's not that many.
Yeah.
And to your point, I think what made me not as much skeptical with Lynch is what they also hired around him. If you look at the guys that are out there, you know, doing a lot of the scouting, um, I think that John Lynch has a good support system to complement his experience and relationships. So when you look at the totality of our roster and what we hired, I think that you know, it was it was great. It was a great hire from that perspective. Was it risky? Any hire is risky, but um, yeah, it ended up doing benefiting us, well. So um, I think at the end of the day, with Jed York, I don't know all the details about him in terms of how, because I think what a lot of Niner fans, were pissed off with is we went from Harbaugh to Tom Sula to Chip Kelly, and then we got Kyle Shanahan. So it was like all the selections that came through at the end of the day. Jed York is a guy that co-signs the final say so, and despite the process or whatever, and it didn't get any better. We were going through a revolving door of coaches. Our culture was just kind of the narrative was being controlled by this fake media out here about our culture, and it was just a place that seemed like, man, are we ever going to get this right? So when Kyle Shanahan came here and Lynch and other pieces as well, behind the scene guys that game plan, that recruit, that go out here and observe these players, that complemented John Lynch as well. Those guys, I felt good about that hire from that perspective when I seen what we were doing, and Kyle Shanahan solidified it. So yeah, going back to what I was saying a minute ago about defense, um, defense wins championships. A lot of people say that. I think most people who say that, man, Beto, they say that because they heard it so much, but do they really know what that means? Because if you look at the Baltimore Ravens teams before they won the Super Bowl, they had a lot of good defenses, but they didn't win championships at all. They got to the AFC Championship many times and didn't get out because their offense wasn't clicking. So you had a few teams that I understand that offense puts up points, but it's a complete team phase of the game. You need to have offense, defense, and special teams doing well for you to have a chance to win. Because how many games have you seen where a kicker blows a kick and the defense played well enough to win? The offense put up enough points to win the game, but the kicker blows a kick. Or you give up a long kick return to some guy at the last second, and then all of a sudden it's like, damn, we even played special teams good, but we didn't execute on the last play, and they ran it back 90-something yards. I mean, all phases have to be complete, man. You know what I mean? And
I agree.
it's about executing on all phases, man. At the end of the day, defense can't score points and offense can't stop teams. So all three phases got to be on point. That's just how I feel. But to each his own.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Broncos and Peyton Manning don't agree with you in the Super Bowl against the Seattle Seahawks when it was 48-8.
Well, once
But
again, my point is proven with that. That even solidifies my point even more because there was no phases that Denver did well. So that's why they got their asses
true,
kicked. I
true,
mean,
true.
Percy
Very
Harvin comes
good,
back
good
that
point.
one game and he goes buck wild on special teams. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like they were
but you're
getting their
right.
asses kicked everywhere.
All three faces have to. It's a team sport, and we all know this. I know it's a cliche that we say um, defense wins championships, offenses puts people in the seats, or it's good for showing, but it's a complete because you can put as many points as you want, but if your defense can't stop the opposing team, you may lose, or you can stop the other team from scoring, but if your offense doesn't score either, you're at a bind.
Yeah, man.
Or if look at the game, look at that championship game against the New York Giants. Our defense was playing good, our offense played good, but who screwed it up? Williams on the muff punt.
Man, I don't want to talk about that right now in playoff, man. That gives me bad memories, man. Let's
But to your point,
yeah.
it was
No,
special teams that
of
lost it.
course.
It
Of
was special.
course.
It wasn't the defense and it wasn't the offense. They did their part, but special teams muffed it. And yeah, bro, that
You
was
got to execute in all three phases, man. You know, like I don't. I also I'll add on to it. I don't believe one play causes a game. Because if
no.
if we did what we were supposed to do in that particular game, maybe we wouldn't have been in that situation. But at the end of the day,
It didn't help
one
though.
of course, you know what I mean? But we value that play because it was towards the end and it was very critical time. But the whole game matters, man. Like if anybody who's played sports, it's just a game from start to finish. That the game was not based on that one play, right? So like everything we did prior to that play, if we look at that game, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things that we could have done better to where we could have avoided being in that position. But again, that's why all three phases matter because, like you said, that muff punt, you know, uh, is what contributed to us being sealed for losing that game. So we gotta execute on all three phases, man. It doesn't matter about that defense wins
Correct.
championships. I will never subscribe to that theory ever in no sport because unless it's tennis where it's a single, even that you still gotta offensively hit the ball back or whatever. So there's phases, man. Every phase matters.
Now, with that said, all three faces matter.
Hmm.
But if I had to choose to have a stronger defense or a stronger offense, I would choose a stronger defense over a
Right.
stronger offense. But we need all three. This is just my opinion.
Hmm.
We need all three faces absolutely 100%. But I rather have a more stout defense and okay offense they can produce, and I'm okay with that. I wouldn't want to have a really good offense and a defense that just can't stop other teams from scoring. Um, just me personally, I know everybody has a different opinion on that, but I do agree. You can't. There has been games that have been won by defense, but it's not that many. There's more of them has been won by a complete three phases than just either defense or just offense. Um, but right now we have a really good offense. We're picking up stride with Adebo Samuel at the right time. He's starting to peak really well at this time of the year, which we need. We have George Kittle playing good. We have Jimmy Garoppolo getting more confidence, playing smarter. I mean, It is hard to play in Seattle, man. I don't care who you are, whether you win or lose. It's hard to play in Seattle. I'll be honest with you. That Seattle game to me was more of a playoff game than tomorrow's game is going to be. Personally, the atmosphere
Mm.
wise, because we have never won in Seattle in a long time. The
Mm-hmm.
pressure of not winning in Seattle, and Jimmy G did not make a mistake. He didn't have a mistake. He played good football, in my opinion. And so
Mm.
to me, he has experience in the playoffs now. He had that playoff experience. So I hear all these announcers, and again, I do listen to them, but I don't feed too much on what they say. But I like to repeat what they say because they look foolish when they say that Garoppolo doesn't have experience in playing in the playoffs. Listen, it wasn't in a sense where if we lost against the Seattle Seahawks, we were not going to play no more. But playing in
Mm-hmm.
the fifth seed or playing the number one seed, that's a big difference. That's a playoff. And for Garoppolo to show poise and show stride and go into Seattle and do his job, he didn't wow nobody, but he didn't give the ball away either. And that to me is something that I'm learning to respect about Garoppolo, and he's getting better. And even our boy Kyle Juice, which Nathan's gonna love me saying this. That I'm not a big fullback guy. He did great, and I expect to see a lot of Juice tomorrow and some couple of good plays. They have some plays for him. It's going to be entertaining, man. It's going to be entertaining. But to me, that playoff scenario, man, it's bogus. Well, you don't have experience, blah blah blah. Garoppolo, long as Garoppolo does, all that playoff hoopla and all that, they don't have experience. That's all for us, the fans, the media, to eat it up. If you ever play football in real life, if you ever had a team you played for, it is about what you believe in the locker room that matters. Who you are, who the guy next to you is, what you guys can do and what you guys can't do is what matters. That playoff nonsense that you never played in the playoffs, the pressure, play your type of football, play the way have been playing all year long, make no mistakes, and it's just another game, in my opinion. Now,
Yeah.
there's consequences to losing a playoff game, obviously, but to a
Right.
player, it's just another game. Tell me if I'm wrong on that, Mike. Give me your opinion on that.
No, I don't think there's a right or wrong. I think it's just our perspective. What I will say is, I think when I'm gonna go back real quick on the last point about the defense before I get to the point about what you were just addressing. Um, I know you were mentioning that there might have been a couple Super Bowls where a defense won the game more so because they were stronger. But what I think is sometimes we underestimate offenses who might not be as strong because some offenses could do enough to win. What I mean is they might run the ball and drain the clock, giving their defense less time of possession to be on the field because they know they're going to get stops, and they do enough to kick field goals or get in range to score. So if that's the offensive execution and that's the best they can do, we have to look at and assess offenses for what they are because not everybody's going to have a high scoring offense. So to me, that's why I still say I don't know that I can ever find a Super Bowl where you know I can say this wins this, because all three phases are important. If a defense is stronger than an offense in the special teams, sure, their defense is going to have to play up to par to help that carry that team, but that offense still needs to do something. That's why I said it comes down to three phases because if there was no offense out there and the defense played the whole game, they wouldn't be effective. They would never win. They would never score unless they get pick sixes all game, and that's not going to happen. So that's why I say that. But to answer to your point, um, again, skeptics, critics, I don't agree with them if they're saying things like, let's look at this from another perspective, man. So they say if they're saying things like we're about to play, we've had our playoff game, against Seattle because we haven't won up there in a while, but we're not, we might not be ready because we haven't played in a playoff game. My counter answer to that is we haven't been a number one seed in longer than we haven't beat Seattle. Let's just call it what it is. So if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember the last time San Francisco was a number one seed in the NFC. But at the end of the day, we have not been a number one seed, I believe, longer than we have not won in Seattle. So When it comes to that, I think the number one seed is going to be a bigger stage than Seattle, personally, because it's the playoffs. Seattle
Correct.
was a game to get to the playoffs, a divisional important key game, but the playoffs, now that we're here, is going to be, if not bigger, because we haven't been a number one seed in how many years has that been? I'm sure it's over a decade for sure. Because we didn't even make the damn playoffs prior to Harbaugh for a long time. And before that, we had Garcia. We made some playoff runs, but I don't remember us being the number one NFC seed in a while. So yeah, man. I don't like I said, that's why I don't listen to these guys, man. They don't watch our team. You know, they just they have a script they gotta follow. They they have a perceived good guy and an idiot who makes asinine comments just to get ratings and say the most ridiculous, absurd things to get a reaction out of people. And the more people keep feeding into it, the more they're going to keep doing it. So, um, yeah, man. But that's my take on it. I don't think you're wrong. I don't think there's a wrong or right answer. I think it's just more of um, I seen somebody up here. They said they think 1994 was the last time, so that's when we won the Super Bowl. So again, I don't know the exact year, but I'm pretty sure it's longer than 2011.
Oh yeah.
So this is going to be a much bigger stage than Seattle.
You think so?
I know so. It has to be. It's the playoffs. First time we've been in an NFC number one seed. If 1994 is the year, then thank you, Chemo, for that stat. If 1994, basically when we won the Super Bowl, then um, being a number one seed, then man, that's longer. So
Let me correct Nathaniel real quick. The reason why we hosted the number one seed, the championship game at home is because Green Bay lost. Somebody lost, and then we were the second seed. When we went to the when we in 2011, we were the second seed. We won our game, and then somebody lost. I forgot who it was, but somebody lost. The number one seed, whoever that was, lost, and by fault, we played the championship in our house when we lost to the Giants. I think the Giants went and beat the Packers that year, and they came and beat us. So, and then went to the Super Bowl. So, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I think the Giants went and beat the Packers, which is the number one seed, and they came back and took out the number two seed, Niners.
yeah, um, yeah. I mean, like I said, I had to go back and look. I wasn't sure, but I don't remember us being a number one seed in a long time. But at the end of the day, it 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 definitely is going to be just as much as a bigger game than that Seattle game because, like the Seattle game, it has a lot of key importance to it. And unlike Seattle, if we lose this one, we go home. So for that reason alone, despite them both equally being important games, the only difference is we lose in Seattle, we go to a fifth seed. We lose to Minnesota, we go home. So this game is going to be lit. This game is damn near more important, and it's more important only because we beat Seattle. Had we not beat Seattle, we wouldn't be in this position. So
I guess from an emotional standpoint, yeah,
yeah,
it was a greater game. But you're right. Um, we lose against Seattle. We get the fifth seed, which we didn't want. We had to play the following week, which we didn't want. But there's definitely a game. We lose tomorrow. We're sitting next to the Saints on the bench, and we're watching the Vikings go play in the championship game. So from that perspective, you're right. In essence, tomorrow's game obviously is much more important than the Seahawks. To me, let me rephrase it then. That Seahawks game was a playoff game for me and for the Niners.
no,
Atmosphere.
I want to make it clear though. I don't think you're wrong. I think what you're saying is, from your perspective, you were just
No, but
simply
you're
saying
correct.
that.
You're correct. This game, and the thing with me, Mike, you know this, and Nathaniel will tell you when a point is made to me, and I know that it's right, I have no problem agreeing with it and changing
Right.
my thought. You know what I mean? I don't sit here with pride and like, nope. I said no. You brought a good valid point, and I heard you out, and I agree. You made a good point, and that point that you made, Mike, convinced me to change my thought. and sit there and go, you know what, you're right. Because if we lost that game, we still would have had another game to play. We would have played right the following week, but we would have played.
Yeah. No, I was
Tomorrow we
saying.
don't play if we lose. So you're
I,
absolutely right on that.
no, I was saying though. I mean, to your point, at that time, I absolutely Seattle would have perceived to been bigger because we didn't know that we would be in this situation. But now that we are, I don't. That's why I'm saying I don't think you are wrong. I think the way you
I
express it
appreciate that.
um, was actually not a bad thing. I don't. That's why I said I don't think there's a wrong or right answer. I think what you're saying is basically you felt like that game was just as big as this game because we haven't won in Seattle. It was just as much as a playoff game. And from the perspective of not knowing that we was going to get the number one seed at that time, that wouldn't make sense. But now that we're the number one seed, I would say that this game's bigger. So that's why I said I don't think you're wrong at all because at that time you were right. This game is bigger because we haven't had the number one seed at that
Yeah,
time.
true.
Um, I do think that us being a young team having home field advantage is
It's
why we're going to
great.
get to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
That's exactly why I feel confident, and I also feel like I'm not being cocky, a troll. I'm just stating facts. We have the most complete team in the NFL. There's not a damn thing that we can't do. We have good special teams, we have good defense, and we have a good offense. So there's not anything well that we don't do. The only other complete team that I see out there, in my opinion, on our side in NFC, I mean, I don't know, really, I don't really know. I mean, Seattle is
I
they're
think the
they're
one
only
I think the Vikings are the complete team, and we're playing them tomorrow. To be honest with you, in my opinion,
really. I
Let,
honestly, I don't feel like Minnesota's. I just don't feel like they're good. It's good as you know. I don't think they're
you don't think they're better than the Packers?
well. I mean, they lost to them twice,
No,
so
okay, no. I know that, but I'm asking, you don't think they're better than the Packers, uh,
they
personnel
didn't.
wise?
I mean, on paper, Dallas Cowboys is better than a lot of teams, but on the
True that.
field, they didn't show it. So
No, you're right.
even though they didn't have Dalvin Cook one of those two matchups, they still didn't win.
I think they didn't have him
Green.
neither one, if I'm not mistaken. He was out on both.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I know he missed one for sure,
Yeah, the
but
last one.
either way, I mean, Minnesota to me, I just don't think they're better than us. Period. They have a really good team on paper. I would say. I mean, they have a good skilled players. They have a good team, but when they're out there, man, like you said, they're inconsistent. So I'm not going to compare and contrast them to Green Bay personally because I feel like at the end of the day, Green Bay did what they had to do to win. There are people out there who could say Seattle's better than us, but we won a division. It's that kind of argument to me. You see what I'm saying? Some people think they took us to the wire. They can beat us. We got lucky on the last call. Blah blah blah. Bottom line is we won our division. Green Bay won the division. So
Well,
it,
to that point, bro, and I really want to elaborate on this. That, my opinion, I think the Vikings are from the three teams that are left besides us,
mhm.
are the best team left behind all the way around. Because they, and matchup wise, to us, not in. I'm not talking about the Vikings are better overall, maybe, but who
Right.
matches better with us at this point? Really, I think at this point it's the Vikings. We get past them. I think the Saints would have been one that would have gave us a little bit of more trouble in the NFC Championship game if it would have came down to that. I'm not scared of the Saints, but it would have been a little bit more difficult. I think them being out. My thing is, when we beat, excuse me, but realistically, if we beat Minnesota tomorrow, I will feel confident no matter who we play, the Packers or the Seahawks, so that we can beat them and move on to the Super Bowl. Because I believe that our true test will be definitely tomorrow against that defense of Minnesota. Because they do a lot of, I mean, they do a lot of things that we do, man. They're very similar to us. It's almost like us playing against our little brother. Big brother playing against little brother. You know what I mean?
Right.
Similarities from both of those teams. And you're right. The Packers did beat Minnesota twice, but unless I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that Dalvin did not play neither or two of those games. And to me personally, I don't think the Packers they're a true 13-3. They are what they are, but I don't think they're a true 13-3 team. I think they overachieved this year because a lot of those games could have went in a different way if it wasn't for the refs, and they would have had a lower record. myself personally. They were given a couple of games if you follow them a little closely. But the team that knows us better is the Seahawks. I think the team that matches up better with us right now are the Vikings, but the team that knows us better are the Seahawks. So with that said, we'll beat them. Let's do it this way, Mike. Let's beat the Vikings tomorrow. Have the Packers beat the Seahawks on Sunday, and then we'll kick the shit out of the Packers on the following week, and then we'll go
Sounds
to
like a plan.
We'll go to the Super Bowl. Can we agree on that? We'll beat the
Hey, I'm
Vikings. They beat the Seahawks, and we'll play the Packers again in California, where they don't do so good.
sounds good to me. But like I said, I'm ready for anyone, anytime, anywhere, man.
I
I,
agree.
I I believe at the end of the day, Minnesota has a good team. They wouldn't be in the playoffs if they weren't. They are a good team. I'm not going to take anything away or underestimate them, but uh, at this point, I just feel like we're a better team. Period. We are a better team all around than they are. So, Green Bay being 13-3. One thing I'll say is the schedule that they had. I don't really think that outside of Minnesota, I'm not sure who else they beat with a winning record. Uh,
Well, according to Nathaniel, and I love how he brings that up every time I make a comment. I love Nathaniel. He says the Packers did not overachieve. The Packers' schedule was favorable. Same thing.
yeah, I mean, everybody has their view, man, on teams, man, whether they're true 13-3 or they're not. But at the end of the day, they won the division. So, like I said, it's always opinions and debatable of who's better. If Minnesota's better than Green Bay, whether they had Cook or not, at the end of the day, Green Bay won the division. So,
Correct. Correct.
um,
You can't take that away from them.
yeah, I mean, we won our division with what you had. You gotta suit up, and play your division like they do. If there's injuries like Cook out, you still next man up, got to step up. So that's what makes a team better. So when we say a team is better, then if their backup isn't able to produce on a level enough to win, I mean, the better team, as far as totality, is on paper, despite what it looks like, the better team in the division was Green Bay because they won. So that's something we can't argue. But whether we feel like Minnesota's a better team or not, that's just debatable. That's opinions. I'm not
Correct.
going to really get into that because everybody's going to have a say so on what they view as a better team. When I hear team, I look at the roster from top to bottom, and if your depth isn't as good to win, then it's hard to make an argument about a better team. But we'll see. At this
But
point, I don't care.
true that the bottom line is that's that statement right there. We don't care. But I think what the Packers have better over the Vikings is if you put Aaron Rodgers on that Green Bay on that Minnesota team,
Hmm.
he would do more damage than he has with a Thielen and Adam Thielen and with a Stephon Diggs and Kyle Rudolph and Cooks. You put Aaron Rodgers on the Vikings team, he'll blow it up. If you put Kirk Cousins on the Packers game, he won't do shit. So I think overall, you're right. But I mean, the Packers did win their division. Good for them. Uh, I agree. Let's beat Minnesota tomorrow. Let's watch the game on Sunday after a Saturday victory and root for the Packers to beat the Seahawks, and we'll play the Packers. But at the end of the day, what you said earlier today, I think, Michael, you said this the other day. The bottom line is the Niners can only lose to themselves at this point. If the Niners play the Niners football, discipline, cover the gaps, don't overshoot, don't overlook, don't overthink, do what they got to do. At the end of the day, they will win no matter who comes before them. They can play anyone, anywhere. We are built to play on the road. Matter of fact, our record on the road is better than at home this year. We can play any team anywhere. Um, but the Niners just have to come out tomorrow and play disciplined football. I lost Mike, lost him a little bit, but it's okay. We were going to end the show anyway. Real quick, everybody, thank you for watching the Niners Sickness podcast show. Nathaniel, thank you for being part of it. Ismael Ortiz, Charles Perkins, Thank you. Jeff Yorks, welcome, and thank you. Christian, thank you for being Chemo Boyet. If I said your last name, I do apologize. Thank you for being part of our show. Remember, please like the show. Hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so that you will be notified for every future event that we have here on YouTube. You will be told when we come live so that you can join us as you did tonight. So like our show, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell. You guys are awesome. Enjoy the game tomorrow. I don't know yet for 100% sure, but I may do a live Niner reaction during the game. I may go on during the game, and as I'm watching the game, I'll have the camera on me, and you'll be able to watch every reaction as the game goes on. Here comes Mike, so you can say good night. There you are, Mike. But I'll be doing a live, and I'll have the camera on me, so you can come and join me during the game, and see me make myself a fool, man. See me run around the house, cover my eyes, burying myself underneath the pillow, and so forth. But I think that'll be fun. If anybody wants to join me, I will be doing the live during the game. Go ahead, Mike, since you're back. You want to say good night to everyone? Mike? Mike, can you hear me? Okay, well, we lost him again. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of the show. Good night, and God bless. Hold on, Mike.